Hi friends, welcome to the Inspired Knitting Podcast. I'm your host Bobby and I am coming to you from southern New Brunswick, Canada. Today is Sunday, March the 16th, 2025, and this is episode 113. Welcome. This is a podcast about my knitting adventures, crochet, spinning, and lots of fibery fun. So if that is your gig, then maybe this is the podcast for you. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe down below. It does help. Yeah, welcome. If you are new to the podcast, thank you for joining me. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and thank you for always supporting me and sending me the love. I just love doing this. It's a way for me to share my passion with everybody, and I get to make some pretty amazing friends because y'all, the knitting community is got to be the most. I crochet too, but the crafting community online has to be one of the best in real life too. But all that to say, just quickly, description box below, there's like this little down arrow to the right. You can click on that, and I always put detailed show notes about anything that I talk about today. So I link you directly to the designers, and I also have my social links there as well, where you can find me. You can find me most active on Instagram as Inspired Knitting Podcast. I am on Ravelry too as X Country Girl 1986X, but that's kind of just mostly my personal portfolio, if you want to call it that. That way I can keep track of the stuff that I have made. So yeah, all that to say, now that that's out of the way, I'm just going to do a little life update because it's been a while since I've been here. I got struck down by the flu, and this is week 4. Finally, I would like to say, fingers crossed, that it is gone. I'm not coughing anymore. But I went through almost a month of being sick. I don't know if I got struck down by one thing or two things, but I was feeling good for a couple days and then it got struck down again. And I know that the crazy sock lady, she's in the States, but she was talking about being sick. Nancy Knits Up Happy, I know that she was sick for several weeks as well. So something nasty has been going around. My whole household got sick with it, and I know several friends, even in Ontario, that got struck down. So something nasty has gone around, and unfortunately our house got it, and it was terrible, just terrible. But luckily, like I said, this is week 4. Finally, I'm not coughing. I wanted to podcast last week, but just talking, it agitated my voice enough that I wanted to choke. So I thought it would be better just to wait. So yeah, that's where I've been. Not a lot of crafting happened within the first, I'm gonna say 2 weeks, just because I was feeling that crappy. You would do something and then your energy would just go. Even just knitting, it really, the muscle aches, the body aches. Usually when I get a cold or a flu, it takes me down quite a bit. My immune system ain't the greatest. So this really took me down. I've had COVID twice and I don't remember being that sick. So this was something else. All that to say, I'm doing much better now. And I did manage to get quite a bit of crafting done in the last couple weeks anyways. And yeah, I have it here to show you. So grab your beverage of choice. It is already mid-afternoon here, so I've already had my coffee for the day. So I decided that I was going to treat myself and have a little bit of wine. So this is just a white wine, nothing spectacular. I don't know all the details about it. I just know that it's one of my favorites. It's an apple and peach kind of flavored wine. It's one of my favorites. So grab your beverage of choice, grab your knitting, your crochet, whatever it is that you're working on, and let's chat. All right, so I have some finished objects today. I have just two, I think just 2 works in progress, and then I have a little bit of stash enhancement. Okay, so I'm just going to start with my pile and go from there. These won't exactly be in order, but that's okay. So the first pair of socks that I have are right here. I don't have these on a sock blocker because technically they should be on a large sock blocker, and I don't have one of those yet. But this is Area 51 fibers, one of my latest obsessions. I love them. This is on her Fancy Schmancy Alien base, which is her DK base. It is 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon, 245 yards per 100 grams. And this colorway is called Love and Speckles. And then you can, and yes, it does have coffee on it. Of course, it's got coffee. Absolutely love Area 51 fibers. She just did a spring update, and I was good. I didn't do it, but there was still stuff in her shop, so do head over area51fibers.com, I think it is. Check it out. But here is the Love and the Speckles. I absolutely love this. DK weight. The feet do look short, but they are to fit a woman's size 8. They fit me quite well. But oh my gosh, you guys, look at this. It is just so pretty. So for the next couple pattern, well, 2 of the patterns anyway, I have been following the Crazy Sock Lady Designs DK weight sock pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. And for this one, I did the 48 stitch size, which is the middle size. There's 3 different sizes that you can choose from. So I cast it on actually for the biggest size, which is 56 stitches for the cuff, just because I kind of have a leg and no ankle, and I got a chunkier leg, so I need that extra little bit of stretch. So I cast it on 56. Once I got the cuff done, then I decreased down to the medium size and did that for the rest of the sock, and they work. I already tried them on. They fit perfectly. So yeah, they are amazing, and I really love this base. So Love and Speckles, Area 51 fibers, that was one of her Valentine's Day colorways. All right, so I got those done. And since we're talking about Area 51 fibers, I might as well stay on the same kick. This is also Area 51 fibers. I don't have the tag with me, but this is her, The Leprechaun Stole My Rainbow. This is one of her St. Patty's Day colorways. And I am just in time because tomorrow is St. Patty's Day. And for once, I finally have my socks done. So all I have to do today is get a picture of these and they can be worn. So here they are in all their glory. This is also on her Fancy Smancy base, which is her DK base. It is just so amazing, you guys. Look at this. I'm not typically one for a rainbow, but this is just too good. And I also love how the cuff, the heel, and the toe ended up in like that rainbowy. It's so good. That was planned, but it's nice when both socks kind of end up being relatively the same. I love it. Oh my gosh, I just love their colorways so much. It is hard not to go crazy on her site. But the leprechaun stole my rainbow, but he ain't stealing my socks. No way. So there's that one, and that again is the Crazy Sock Lady Designs. That is her DK Vanilla Socks pattern. I did 56 stitches again for the cuff, and then decreased down to 48 stitches for the rest of the sock. And then I just followed the rest of the pattern for the rest of it. So yeah, that's what I did for that. And I just realized that I didn't tell you what I'm wearing. I've shown this so many times, but it is one of my favorite sweaters. This is the Chartres. I believe it's called the Chartres. I might put it across the screen here. This is by Ami Lowden. She used to be known as Little Tailoress on Instagram, and she had a podcast as well. Now she goes under a different name on YouTube and Instagram, but she is one half of Dandelion and Dogwood. I'm pretty sure you all know who I'm talking about. Ami Lowden, though, if you search her up on Ravelry, you'll find this cardigan, as well as several other different designs. I test knitted this one, and I absolutely love it. I knit it to be a little bit bigger than I actually needed, but it is a top-down drop shoulder construction cardigan. It's got, you knit the button bands as you go, and it does have buttonholes. I just never put buttons on it because I just wrap it. It's so big, I just wrap it around myself. But I knit this with Cascade 220 in a black, and then I held it with a black mohair. And yes, I do need to take all my little pills off of it, but it's one of my favorite cardigans. And today we've had really beautiful weathers in the last couple days here in the Maritimes. It's been like 10-11 degrees Celsius, but today it's a little bit cooler and it's overcast, so it is the perfect day to cozy up in my woolies. And yeah, so I had to grab this one. Of course I did. So that's what I'm wearing. All right, so the next pair of socks, back to finished objects, is another pair of DK weight socks. I have been going to my local farmer's market. I can't talk today, and it has nothing to do with the wine, but maybe not enough coffee. Maybe I should have had coffee. I have been going to my local farmer's market in Sackville, New Brunswick, the last couple weeks, and I've actually been selling some of my hand knit socks, and they are quite popular, no doubt. So typically I go for the DK weight socks because they do knit up a little bit faster. So I decided to cast on this pair. This is actually the Rye Worsted pattern by Tincanknits, and I do have two. Again, I don't have these on a blocker just because they're a little bit bigger and I don't have blockers. But the Rye Worsted pattern has that gorgeous garter panel down the middle, and then it's just plain stockinette in the back. This is Loops and Threads yarn, so it's actually an acrylic wool blend, and it is tweedy, as you can tell. I have the details for this yarn on my Ravelry. I didn't actually save the tag, unfortunately, but it's the only one that was like a charcoal gray. It's Loops and Threads. You can buy it at your local Michael's store. But yeah, I really, really love it. It is so pretty. And I have another skein of the same yarn. It's actually right here in like a light gray, and it's tweedy as well. It's a very, very beautiful base, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I almost want to steal these socks for myself because they are really nice. They are blowing out. They're actually not that light. They actually are quite darker. There you go. I would say that's more true to color. But very beautiful. Rye Worsted, Tincanknits. It's a classic pattern. I believe it is a paid for pattern. But one of the amazing things about Tincanknits, if you don't know, is that you can get the pattern and have a baby size all the way to toddler, child, adult small, adult medium, and adult large. So that's pretty awesome that you get all those sizes in one pattern. If you're interested in a fingering weight version, they do have a fingering weight version. It's called the Rye Light. So it's exactly the same pattern with the garter panel, except it's written for fingering weight. And again, Goes from baby all the way up to adult large. So I love Tincanknits for that. They're pretty amazing. And these are pretty amazing socks. These were fun to knit up. It's vanilla knitting, but it's got something with a bit of interest in it. And I know it's purling. Not a lot of people enjoy purling. I don't mind it, so it was actually kind of fun, but it is what it is. Another finished object, that is a pair of socks, no surprise. I posted these on my Instagram. I absolutely love this. This is a fingering weight pair of socks. This is Gobsmacked Yarn, Merritt in Sackville, New Brunswick. She has a shop there. This is one of her gorgeous colorways. This actually doesn't have a colorway name because she had literally dyed it and it had dried, but she showed it to me and I snagged it before it even got a tag. Well, it got a tag, it just didn't get a name. So yeah, it is just so stinking gorgeous. It's like a navy blue with this rainbow. Oh my God. As soon as I got this yarn that day, I brought it home, caked it up, and automatically cast it on. Like, this is me. This is moody with a touch of bright. It is perfect. It's so perfect. So for these ones, I think I did like a 30 row cuff, 2x2 ribbon, cast it on 64 stitches, decreased to 56 for the rest of the sock. I did slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset. Then I just did my regular toe. They are amazing, and now I cannot wait to wear them. These are not going to market. These are mine. These are mine. Nobody else's. Mine. I proclaim them. I love them. So I got those ones done. And then I'm just going to steal one of the blockers to show you the next finished object. Well, it's not a full finished object, it's a hoe. So I've been watching Crazy Sock Lady, and she did some stripy socks, and one of my problems with doing scrappy, not stripy, scrappy. I swear to God, I can't talk. My problem with scrappy socks is that you always get like this little gap when you do your color change. Now I've done the jogless, I've tried numerous types of jogless starts, and it does help stop the jog, but when I go to tie in my ends, no matter how hard I try, you always see a little bit of a gap or a wrinkle. So Crazy Sock Lady has a tutorial, and she shows you how she deals with it. So I watched her tutorial. Now it's kind of hard to tell because this pair of socks that I chose to do are more of a fade. So, or it is actually a fade. So it's kind of hard to tell how good it is. I do see a bit of a wrinkle, but I cast it on this pair. They are so good. And this is where my seam would be, right here. So it's kind of hard to tell because, like I said, this is a fade, but it seems to have worked. So I think once I get my projects down a little bit, I'd like to cast on another pair of scrappy socks with something a little bit more tonal, maybe, that I can see the changes and see how much I really like it. But at least for this sock anyway, I can't tell and it's not bothering me. So I'm like super happy about that because I love scrappy socks. I have so many scraps. I'm actually looking at a bucket right now full of them, and I'd love to do scrappy socks with them, but that gap always bothered me. So hopefully Kay's trick does the trick and I can actually do some more scrappy socks because they're a lot of fun. This pair, I'm gonna say I almost knit this whole thing in a day. That's how fun and intrigued I was. So without further ado, this is just a plain vanilla sock, my typical 64 stitch decreased down to 56. I did 2x2 rib for about 20-25 rows. slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset, and then my normal toe. I don't know if it's a wedge toe, rounded toe. I really don't know. It's just the one I always do. So the yarn, I'm just going to set this aside. The yarn that I'm using is Full Moon Fibers, and it is a kit I think I got last summer. And it is called Reading Past My Bedtime. It is on their Solar Sock mini skeins, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 73 yards, 20 grams each. And there was 6 of them. There was 6 minis in total. And just gonna do this back up here. I have them currently, this is funny, in an M&M's jar. We usually clean out our peanut jars, and it just so happened that we went to Costco, or had a Costco order, and got some M&M's, and I was like, I want that jar. So it just so happened that my sock bags were currently full. And yes, I do make project bags, but I didn't want to add another one to my collection. So I just decided to put them in the jar, and it works. So you can kind of see them in here. They're really, really pretty. They're really pretty. This one I think is my favorite out of them all. And then I got my leftovers from my leprechaun in there as well. But new project bag, that's currently what they're sitting in. When I go to do the second sock, it will go in a project bag. But for right now, this sock is kind of on the back burner until I can get another pair of socks completed. That way I can put this one in a proper project bag. But for now, it just sits on our kitchen table of all places, because that's where I usually have been knitting lately. And I just get to stare at all these pretties and admire them. It's awesome. Okay, so let's see here. What do we have? All right, the next thing I have to show you is another hoe, actually. So just give me 1 second here. So like I said, I haven't started the second sock of that one just yet. So that is still to be done, but they are so good. And again, those are not going anywhere. The next hoe I have to show you, I actually just casted this one on yesterday. So have you ever had a particular yarn in your stash that you just dream about? Well, I have a few, but this particular one I've been thinking about a lot, and I decided I had no business casting on another pair of socks, but I wanted to, and it was this one. This is Turtle Pearl, which is dyed here in Hillsborough, New Brunswick, Canada. I got this at 3 Bags Full, which is a yarn store in Moncton, if you're not familiar. And this is in the Live Long and Prosper colorway. To all my Star Trekky Vulcan friends out there, yes, I am a Star Trek fan, and I just kept thinking about this colorway. I wanted to knit it up, and I thought it was about time. So these are lovingly known as my Spock socks, and I absolutely I love them. They're just so perfect. So I have a bit of a tale of woe. I accidentally casted these on with my typical 2mm because I thought that it was a fingering weight sock, or yarn, I should say, not sock, but yarn. It turns out that as I was knitting, I was like, this gauge usually works. I know some yarns tend to be a little bit thicker, like it could be a heavy fingering, but usually it works. And then I happened to look at the tag, and it turns out that it is DK. So I actually was at the heel, and I ripped it all back out yesterday, and I reknit it. So it was a bit of a tale of woe there, but it was too tight. It was not going to work. I was going to run out of yarn because I cast it on my 64 stitches. It was not going to work, and it was super big too. That should have been a hint, but that's okay. So anyways, here is Live Long and Prosper. And their base is a 75-25, 245 yards per 100 grams. Turtle Pearl. Absolutely love their yarns too. They have a lot of amazing self-striping colorways. So a little bit of a tale of woe, but the thing with the DK sock is it knits up in no time. So again, I follow the Crazy Sock Ladies DK vanilla sock pattern. I did the 56 stitches for the cuff, and then I decreased down to the 48 stitches for the rest of it. And I love it. It worked out so good. So I did cast on. This is finished objects, but I will just quickly share with you what I have done. So this is the second sock, and I did this morning when I had my coffee. So as you can tell, they work up like really quick, but I've also been told I'm a fast knitter. I don't know. So for me, I think everybody's gauge is slightly different. And for me, when it comes to DK weight socks, because I don't do them a lot, I'm still trying to find my perfect gauge. So I went to a 3mm, and that worked. That's what I did my Love and Speckles, my Leprechaun socks, and my Rye socks with, but they're still a bit baggy. They turned out big, and I like my socks to have a bit of negative ease to them. So for this pair, I went down to a 275, and I'm still doing my typical stitch, and it looks like stitch counts, and it looks perfect. So I'm gonna try these, and hopefully they fit, because I want them, but if not, I have somebody in mind that will get them. Another Star Trekkie. So yeah, but yeah, they work up super fast, so it's all good. It's all good. All right. Okay. So there's that. I got one more finished object to share with you. And this is, I'm going to put the name across here, but I believe it's called the Killarney Hat by, again, Ami Lowden, the same designer as my sweater. Now, I had been a test knitter for this hat as well about 2 years ago, and I knit another one. There is 2 sizes to the pattern. There is a small and a large. So the large gives you a little bit more ease, and it also makes it a little bit more slouchy. I believe that's the one that I did before. For this one, I did the small. And oh my god, it's lace, it's cables. Sorry. I said I wasn't gonna cough. One moment. Okay, we're back. We had a coughing fit. I guess I was wrong. Okay, back to the hat. It's lace and cables. I wouldn't say it's beginner friendly, just because there are some the cables aren't hard. Like this one, I don't know, it's not that hard. I guess it all depends, but I would say this is more of an intermediate pattern. but the lace is definitely pretty simple. And Amy has the pattern written out beautifully. And I will put it on here. It is such a gorgeous hat. I would definitely need a large for my big old noggin, but you can kind of see it. It is gorgeous. I don't really like wearing hats, but in the winter time I have to because it's too cold. So this is not for me, this is for somebody else. They wanted a gray pom-pom or a tan one, so I have this beautiful gray one. And then I ordered some pom-poms off of Amazon, and this one's actually got like the snap, on it that you can attach, which I prefer these. The other one doesn't, so I'll have to put like a button if she doesn't want the gray, and attach it that way, which is fine. But I decided to bring the gray one along, minus the tag, just so you can see. So it will have a pom-pom, and it's pretty awesome. I love it. So the yarn that I used for this is the Handmaiden. It was on her fingering base. I don't know what the colorway name is because I didn't see a colorway name, but it was just in this gorgeous kind of light teal colorway. I picked it up at 3 bags full. It was a hefty skein. It was 463 yards, I believe, so it was quite hefty. And then I matched it just to make it a bit darker because the person that's receiving this wanted slightly darker because they are fair toned. And I mixed this with Gobsmacked Yarns Fuzz Base, which is their mohair, and it was called the Clever Ones. And it is so good. So good. I absolutely love it. I'm almost tempted. I have to weigh this still. I might actually have enough yarn to make a second hat because there definitely seems to be enough mohair and the yarn still looks pretty significant. So I'm going to measure this out, and if I do have enough yarn, I don't know if I have the brain space to do this pattern again, but I did get a new pattern from Biscott. It was Heapster hat, I think it's called, and it is it's kind of like a slouchy hat. It's held with fingering and mohair as well, and it's just got this really cute lace type pattern on it. So I might use up the leftovers to do that because I want a hat in these colors. I mean, that is so pretty. I love it. So Killarney Hat by Ami Lowden, and I will have that linked below, of course. Okay, so I'm going to take another sip of wine here just because I don't know where that cough come from. I've been feeling really good, so I don't know, maybe it's because I'm talking more. All right, so I have works in progress now. Kind of lost my train of thought. So I'm working on the Live Long and Prosper socks, and almost pulled my needles out. I decided to cast on another pair of socks for market. Now I didn't go this past Saturday because my local market where they do it in the winter time, it is in a smaller building, and there's not a lot of space. So they have their regulars that show up, and then if somebody cancels, then you get put on a cancellation list. So I'm on the cancellation list. I'm not a regular because I'm new. So this week it was pretty full. They had a great great array of vendors. I didn't actually go, but I saw the post and it looked really amazing. There was somebody that showed up that had fresh tulips, and I was like, oh my gosh, That is amazing. Kind of wish I had gone, but I kill flowers. I kill plants, so that wouldn't have worked. But they had an amazing array of vendors. But all that to say, I am on the cancellation list, so it's not every weekend that I get to go. But still, I like to make product because I do have quite a bit left. But the last time I was there, and I'm very grateful, my table went down. So I have to make some new stuff. So I decided to go for another pair of socks I worsted. So this is Barocco Vintage. I have the colorway name on my Ravelry. I think it's called Verde, Verde. It's on my Ravelry. So for this one, I was going to do another pair of Rye socks. However, I was watching Nancy's podcast, Knit Sit Happy, and Nancy came out with a new pattern collection. And I'm actually, where did I put my tablet? I'm actually going to show it to you because it is really pretty. Just going to open up my tablet here quickly. So it's called The Collection of Columns by Nancy Wheeler, and it is fingering weight socks. Ooh, my light, 1 second here. I'll just shut my ring light off. There we go. Everything just went dark, but that's okay. So it is a collection of columns, and there's 6 different columns that are in the patterns. So they are fingering weight, as I said. So if I go like this, I can show. We got some lacy ones. This is actually the one I'm doing right now. This is column 3. And then we got some more lacy type 1. And kind of like a cable. And then this one looks really cool. This is column 6 Rob sock. And that looks really cool. Really cool. So do check out Nancy's patterns. She is a wonderful sock knitter and a designer of sock patterns. Absolutely love her stuff. So I decided that I wanted to adapt my worsted sock into one of her columns because it's quite easy to do. So that's what I did. So it's worsted weight. So what I did is I followed the numbers for the Rye sock by Tincanknits, and I think I'm doing the women's medium size. And then because the pattern, the columns are just on the front of the sock and not the back, all I did was I took my numbers and I adjusted Nancy's pattern to my numbers that I was doing. So here's column 3 of Nancy's pattern, and I absolutely love it. It is a simple 2-row repeat, which is wonderful for my brain. So if you were to do Nancy's column number 3 on a fingering weight sock, you'd have more stockinette in between here, but because mine is on a worsted, it's a little bit smaller. Also, I chose to do 2 knit stitches on either side here, where I believe Nancy's columns start right away. But I have it going down the leg, and it will go down the front of the sock as well. So it's just a lot of fun. I didn't want to do plain vanilla. I was going to do, like I said, the Rye sock, but I was watching Nancy's podcast and I was like, I just literally caked up the worsted yarn, but I really want to do her pattern, so I decided to do that. It works. So I got through the gusset decreases, so now I'm on to the foot. And it's going to be beautiful. I can't steal this one because I know it's not going to be big enough for me. I would have to do a woman's large or knitted on a slightly bigger needle, either or, but I can't steal these, which is unfortunate because this is one of my favorite colors. But yeah, there it is. It's pretty amazing. And the stitch markers, I've been having a go at making some stitch markers. Nothing fancy, just a little ring with a bead. So there is that one. And then my last active whip that I've been working on is a shawl. And this is another tale of woe. Apparently I've been having a lot of trouble lately with my yarn and not realizing when it is fingering weight and when it is DK. I presume without reading the label. So my tale of woe is I saw a shawl. It was called the Gold Shawl, and I can't remember who it's by right now, but I saw it. It was knit up by somebody else in a beautiful red, and I absolutely loved it. So I wanted this shawl, so I went and bought the pattern, and I went into my stash, and I do have pure red, but this was already caked up. So I'm just going to share the yarn with you first. This is Gobsmacked yarn on their Astonishing Yarn. Yes, it is. And it is Gobsmacked double. So instead of being 100 grams, it's a 200 gram gradient. And look at this. How beautiful. When I went into her shop, Merritt Shop, if you ever have the opportunity to come to New Brunswick, you need to come visit Sackville, New Brunswick, and you need to visit Merritt. She's kind of on the main street, but it's parking lot by the post office, Canada Post. You see Canada Post and there's a parking lot and there's like an alley. I think it's called Ford Lane or Ford Crescent. It's just like this little lane and her shop is right there. It's a hidden gem. She's got these beautiful white shelves along the wall and they all have her gradients on them. It is so beautiful. I just go in her shop and I just have to sit there and I just have to look at her beautiful wall of color because it's just so beautiful and it's so inspiring. Her whole shop it's full of color. It's very beautiful. But yeah, I really love Merritt Shop. I'm being biased because she's my local yarn store, but I'm being truthful. You have to visit Gobsmacked Yarns brick and mortar. You also have to visit her online shop as well and her Instagram because she does sell online as well. Okay, back to the yarn. When I saw this on her wall, I just had to grab it. This is in the Tropical Heat colorway. It is fingering weight. Bobby did not read the label before she started and presumed that it was DK, which is the Gold Shawl is a DK weight shawl. So there is, I think there's like almost 790 yards of fingering weight yarn in this cake. So I saw the yardage for the Gold Shawl, it was like 740, and why my brain, it was because it was a sick brain. I was still sick at this time. That's what I'm gonna blame it on. Yeah, I thought this was DK for some reason. So I cast it on the Gold Shawl and I got going. I even posted a picture of it on Instagram and I was like, you know, this is not looking right. It's looking pretty small and I don't like small shawls. And then when I started to read the label, I was like, well, there's a reason for that. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep going with it. I'll just, you know, find somebody else to give it to. But that would make me sad because I really love this yarn. So I decided the other day that I was going to pull it. I was going to frog it. I did. Long story, I decided to cast on a new shawl. And this is one of my favorite shawls ever. I've knit one of them and I get a lot of wear out of it. Sadly, I don't know where it is at the moment. But this is Free Your Fade by Andrea Mowry. It is an asymmetrical shawl, and it's really fun because it's just got garter and some eyelets. So it's pretty mindless and easy. And the great thing about this, it is called Free Your Fade. You would fade, I think Andrea uses like 3 different colors for this shawl, but because this is a gradient, I don't have to change colors. I'm just going to keep knitting until I run out of yarn. And it's going to be so good. So good. So if you're not familiar with the Free Your Fade, like I said, it is an asymmetrical shawl, and then the edges do have like a picot border, and it's going to be amazing. These are so my colors, and it will have a bit of the red that I wanted, so it's a tale of woe, but that's okay. Hopefully it does not follow in 3s and I do this again. But we'll see what happens. Anything can happen. Okay, so that is pretty much it for the knitting content. I did work on one of my blankets. Oh, my blanket. Right, duh. Okay, so I worked on 2 of my blankets. The first blanket that I was just about to mention to you is my crochet granny stripe blanket. I actually have been getting work on it. When I was sick, I was having to come and take some rest periods out of my wheelchair a lot. That's how bad the body aches were. And I am not the kind of person to lay down through the day. My occupational therapist and my physiotherapist, they all yell at me all the time because I need to be getting out of my chair throughout the day. I don't like doing that. It's hard to knit in bed, somewhat. That's an excuse, right? But I just don't like it. I am a very, I wouldn't say I'm on the go person. I'm not, but I just don't like, I like being up. I don't know, it's weird. Anyways, while I was sick, I was having to rest a little bit more, and being in the bed, it was easier. It's kind of hard for me to knit, but I can crochet. So my granny stripe blanket, I actually keep it on my bed because I cannot be anywhere, including in bed, without some type of knitting or crocheting. So I always keep my granny stripe blanket in a bag on my bed. So that actually got quite a bit of work on it. I'm gonna say I got like that much work done on it. It is a fingering weight one, so I'm quite happy with that. But I wasn't able to grab it for you because I currently have 3 cats. Rami, Sassy, and yes, our stray feral is still in the house. It has been a month, and right now she's all curled up on the end of the bed, her favorite spot. So I'm not disturbing them because it's still touch and go with my 2 cats. With the feral cat, she's a sweetheart. She's amazing, but my girls are sassy little. I won't say that word, but they're sassy princesses, and they like to sometimes. Rami just hisses at her. Rami hisses at anybody new. Even her sister Sassy, who's been with us for 5 years now, Rami still hisses at her. But Sassy can be quite sassy, and she actually didn't beat Midnight up this morning, but she gave her a pat in the head, and I'm like, what are you doing? She didn't do nothing. But all that to say, I didn't want to grab the bag because there's 3 cats that are currently getting along and just sleeping together, so I ain't messing with that. All right, so what I did bring along is my Jellyroll blanket. So I shared this with you last time, so I won't go into great detail, but all I did was put the crocheted attachment like I said I was going to do. So this is what I have so far, and it's definitely not as wide as I thought it would be. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jelly rolls. So the jelly roll blanket, just quickly, is by K Jones, or KF Jones, of the Bakery Bears podcast. It is a fingering weight garter stitch blanket. And as you do your strips, when you go to do your second one, you're knitting the next strip as you go. So it's attaching the two together. For me, I knew that I wouldn't like that, that I would get tired of it and probably not want to work on it. So I decided just to do the strips by themselves. Also, I'm holding fingering weight double, so it's a nice squishy DK. So that is hence the reason why I have a crochet join. So I went back and forth. I was like, I could Kitchener stitch them together, or I could just crochet them. So I decided to do crochet because I kind of don't have patience. And I like the way it looks. I don't mind the bit of the edge, which your blanket, if you were to do the jelly roll, it would have that bit of a bump anyways. It's just that mine's in a pink color because I chose pink. But all that to say, I have my Lichen and Lace 2024 Advent in here. Like I said, I'm not going to go into great detail about anything. Hopefully you guys are getting a good picture because I can't really see. But this is what I have. It is quite long. I wanted this to be long enough to go on my bed. So this, I'm pretty sure, it looks amazing. But I definitely would have to double the width of it by far, or add a couple more strips to it, which is fine by me. I have a lot of scraps, so we shall see what happens. But so far it's amazing, and it's squishy, and I love it. And it was quite easy to do the crochet join as well. So I didn't bring the project bag with me. No, it's somewhere else right now, but I do have another strip already started. I still have 2 of my Lichen and Lace Advent colors to put in. So I'm working on the first one right now, and then from there I'm just gonna randomly grab my scraps and just keep adding it, because like I said, I still have to double this blanket at least to get it to the width that I want. So it is a long-term project. I did start it in November, just before Advent season had started, because I knew that's what I wanted to do with my Lichen and Lace Advent. So that's okay. I'm really enjoying it. It's a fun knit. It's a good process. Sorry, it's a good process. 1 minute. Okay. There's going to be a lot of breaks in this video today, and I am sorry for that. Apparently, I'm still sick enough that I'm coughing. So, I do apologize. Okay, so back to the blanket. It's just a really easy knit. I love knitting on it while watching TV. It's just plain back and forth garter, so it's pretty amazing. So that is again the Jellyroll blanket by KF Jones. Kay does have a link in her pattern. It is a paid for pattern. She does have a link in her pattern for a video on how you can do the continuous join as you go. I did watch the video and I did try it, but it was a bit fiddly, and I knew, like I said, I knew I wouldn't enjoy it very much, and I probably wouldn't knit on the blanket, so I just decided to do them separately, like the strips separately. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. Managed to get through that without coughing, so I'm gonna quickly show you 2 things that I got in Stash Enhancement and wrap this video up. Okay, so I saw that Nicole C. Mendez had a update on her website. She is a yarn dyer from Germany. So I'm obsessed with her yarn too. She's another dyer that does self-striping yarn. So I got this colorway, which is her Romance colorway. And I believe this was another one of her maybe Valentine's Day colors. I'm not quite sure. But the base that I got was on her soft stock, which is 80% 80% virgin wool, merino extra fine, 20% nylon, 437 yards. So that's Romance. And then I have one of her other Harry Potter colorways, and I knit a pair of socks in them. Can't remember what that one was called, but I kind of want to get all of her Harry Potter colorways. I have another one, it's called the Bolt, so I do have that one. So I decided to get this one, which is the Night Bus. And this is also on her soft sock, so it's an 80/20. And look at how awesome. This might be my next pair, I don't know. It's pretty awesome. I love the blues. I just love them. Nicole C. Mendez, check her out. Area 51 Fibers, check them out. Beautiful self-striping yarns. I love them. So yeah, I've been relatively good. I did visit Merritt last weekend, and I did pick up the mohair for the hat, but I'm really happy because I like caked it up and started knitting it right away, so it just didn't sit in my stash. And I did pick up two other skeins of yarn, but they are for a particular project. So I did cast it on, but I'm not very far. It's a pair of mittens, and I'm not very far on them, so I didn't bother bringing those to show today. But so yeah, I've been relatively good, and I'm happy with that. I wanted to do the like the yardage, like write down what my yardage was, what goes in, what comes out, but I didn't, and that's okay. All I'm interested in is to see how many pairs of socks I can knit this year. And I actually checked my Ravelry yesterday, and I have knit 11 pairs of socks this year so far in 2025, which to me that's pretty freaking amazing. I think just one pair of those were child size, so I'm pretty excited about that. That makes me so happy because I can remember a time when Kristen of the Volenvine podcast, she used to do the box of socks, and I'm not sure if she does that anymore. But the goal was to knit 12 pairs of socks in the year, to have a pair of socks every month, and then you put them in a box. So you'd have a beautiful box of socks at the end of the year. And I can remember there was several years in a row that I tried to do that, and I could never ever get to 12 pairs of socks. And now we're March, and I'm one pair away from doing 12. So that's pretty amazing. So yeah, I'm just curious as to see what I can do this year when it pertains to socks. It's just socks. I love my socks. So I'm just curious about that. What comes in, what goes out, well, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Anyways, I'm just gabbering on now, so I will let you guys go. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for putting up with my coughing. I do apologize. I thought I was over it. I hope that you had a good time, and I will see you guys again in hopefully 2 weeks. 2 weeks. No coughing. Bye, guys.